Well, joining me for some analysis on two sessions is Sourabh Gupta. He's a senior Asia-Pacific International Relations Policy Specialist at the Institute for China-America Studies. Sourabh, China set its annual growth target at around 5%. Is that a realistic goal?
Yes, I think it is a realistic goal. It's slightly at the higher end. The international community, the international economic community thinks the more realistic goal is about 4.5%. But by saying that they're going for 5% and trying to make that a kind of line in the sand, it's also showing that the government might be willing to provide that additional stimulus to get to 5%. I think it's absolutely realistic, even though the base effect benefit that China got this year will not be there next year, but I think China has the growth motors to get to 5%.
Well, beyond the GDP target and these numbers that were highly anticipated, what is your takeaway from what we heard overall from Premier Li Qiang in terms of policy goals for the year?
I think the party leadership, party and government leadership is very, very fixated and very dedicated to transforming the economy. The old growth model does not work. It does work, but it's eking out less and less growth. And unless that is changed, shifted, and that transformation has already started. It started at the 19th Party Congress, and it continues, but that needs to be accelerated so that there are growth motors and at the same time enough aggregate demand to get the Chinese economy moving from a high-speed economy to a high-quality economy with advanced manufacturing, consumption, and services-oriented. That is the goal of where China is going. And we saw this highlighted very clearly, particularly in the technology segment, science and technology segment, that is a priority even greater than stimulating domestic demand. That transformation of the economic structure continues. And while there are immediate short-term growth targets, et cetera, in terms of special treasury bonds, how it's the overriding focus is to transform the economy over the longer term, over the next 5, 10, 15, even 25 years.
You know, from record youth unemployment, low birth rate, the property taxes, China's economy, it's no secret they're facing a number of monumental challenges. Did we hear any specific proposals on how China plans to deal with these issues?
It's not about specific proposals. What China is trying to do is not try to do growth the same old way. And that's why that fixed asset investment-led growth, excess fixed asset investment-led growth, the Chinese leaders have been clear to show that we are not providing excess support for that. We are providing just enough support to get the economy moving so that the economy has of its own momentum, can make that transformation in terms of becoming a more high-quality economy. So it's not about giving specific support to particular sectors as such, as much as it is to focus in terms of the larger transformation of the economy. Don't get me wrong out here. There is the white list in the property sectors. Those who are in a healthier state will get financing. There is government working towards alleviating the problems at the local government debt distress level. So that process continues apace. But the idea is not to get overwhelmed in that process, but think of the larger growth, larger structural transformation and economic reforms that the economy needs, and to focus on that and keep fixated on that goal. And in the larger scheme of things, the legacy problems will be dealt with, and at the same time, the structure of the economy will be improved.
And finally, Sourabh, if you're an international corporation that does business in China, if you're a foreign investor that need to see confidence in China's economy, what did you want to hear, and did you hear what you needed to continue doing work in China?
Yes, I did. First, there is by immediate standards a fairly aggressive growth target. Secondly, last August, there were some measures which were laid out with regard to improving the foreign investment environment in China, the business environment in China. And thirdly, I was encouraged to see the emphasis on trying to accede to things like the CPTPP. Now, the important thing about things like the CPTPP, these trade agreements, is that they will force China to deal with its what is called the unlevel playing field considerations, where local enterprises, particularly SOEs, get preferences at the expense of many private sector enterprises, Chinese, and of course, foreign investors. And the fact that China stays focused and fixated on that goal suggests that China is trying to level the playing field for all enterprises, including foreign private enterprises.
Sourabh Gupta, thank you, sir.